What's up guys, Max here, and over the past week there's been a lot of changes to Mortal Kombat X outside of that Predator stuff that was coming out. Again, the game got a huge update in terms of balance adjustments and changes for a bunch of characters as we get closer to the EVO tournament. Now this is also preceded with the fact that there was recently another patch that came out earlier today that changed even more and actually reverted a few things, so let's just get started with some of the characters that I'm most curious about, and if you want to see the full change list, I'm going to put the link in the description below. One of the more interesting ones is that Ermac got a lot of increase in damage with a lot of his projectile attacks and soul bursts. This is good because I'm about to start playing Ermac now that his classic skin is available. There's another big one with Goro where almost the entirety of his, between his variations, got a lot of different things with hit advantage and a little bit less combo scaling after one in Tigrar Fury. I like Goro, he's a really fun character, but he's very low on a lot of tier lists right now, so it's good to see them doing something about it. Jason also got an interesting buff, especially to the Relentless variation and any variation that uses his command grabs. They're all a little bit easier to land now, and Jason I think is inherently a good character, but the Relentless version is also, in my consideration, the best variation, and now it's even a little bit better, which is actually very cool. Other than that, Kenshi once again got some more buffs. A little bit of his combos are easier to combo after. These are kind of like general around all variations. And there's some small adjustments to some stuff within the Kenjutsu and possession variation or possessed variation. But Kenshi overall is a little bit better than he was before. Now Kitana is the one that's a result of a huge discussion because, oh my god, this chick got a ton of adjustments. She's essentially not really a completely different character, but you can play her a lot differently within certain variations. There are so many adjustments here that it's kind of insane. You can read down this list for like literally 2 minutes, but check them out for yourself if you are a Kitana player. They seem to be doing something about it. Kung Lao also got a lot of nerfs, but he's still very good as we saw from the CEO tournament, but there's a big adjustment that also just happened that I'll talk about after this one, which is the patch that came out today. Other than that, Liu Kang got a huge one where he's able to cancel into one of his new Flame Fist combos, where he can 2-in-1 special from the Windmill Punch into the Windmill Flurry. Now this is crazy because he gets a ton of chip damage on this, and as we've seen in high-level tournaments, doing a lot of chip damage off safe block strings is the new big thing about Mortal Kombat X. Melina also got a few buffs, but nothing insanely good, just a little bit better all around. Raiden got a couple of adjustments, but nothing too crazy. They seem to be okay with Raiden still being a very good character. Reptile, however, I was very happy about, but not too much changes with Reptile. He essentially got a little bit more damage, but nothing too critical. His base combo still do around 30% to 35%, and it's kind of hard to get over that unless you have some very specific things. And then Scorpion got a fairly big nerf within one of his combos. This actually makes it slightly more difficult to combo from. The thing they did change with him is that they just made ninjutsu, that variation, way better because almost everyone was playing Hellfire or Inferno because they were really good. Now these ones are a lot better. So a lot of these other combos you can do like hit stun and cancel from one combo into Hellfire into another. That's a lot harder now, and you essentially can't really do it. Shinnok got a ton of freaking changes. Shinnok still remains one of the better characters, but I think he got another adjustment afterwards, so we'll talk about that one and come back to it. Sonya got a few changes. Shockingly, Takeda actually got nerfed, which was really shocking for me. They nerfed his air spear, which did a lot of damage at the end of combos and I guess wasn't scaling correctly, and now it does, removing about 2 to 4% at the end of his combos. And of course, Tanya got a lot of adjustments, but the big adjustments to Tanya, because she was considered probably the best character in the game, have come with a patch that happened today on July 2nd. So let's talk about what happened today on July 2nd. D'Vorah got a patch that made her combos a lot harder to do between canceling her bug combos, so she can kind of like cancel into a bug. But before, if you did that cancel combo, it was kind of hard to do, and then it became really hard to do, and it seems that they made a slight adjustment to that. Ferritor got some slight different adjustments, nothing too big, and also Jackie got a damage buff. Kitana also seemed to get another buff as well between all 3 of her variations. And then one of the biggest ones amongst these characters is that Kung Lao's like EX hat dance where he chucks the hat. It used to be plus 27 on block. It was extremely freaking good. It's not nearly that much anymore. Kung Lao was able to do some very high pressure strings that were doing a lot of chip damage into the EX hat, and that thing was doing a lot of damage. And now it's not as much on block. It's now plus 12, so we'll see how that makes an adjustment to Kung Lao getting a bunch of damage on block. Liu Kang also had the Flame Fist, where there was a bug on the recovery of Shaolin Flame and Shaolin Inferno. That is a slight adjustment. I'm not too sure how much that's going to change things. Shinnok also got a huge adjustment from one of his moves that were really advantageous on block, like plus 24. This is in the form of Hell Sparks and Hell Blast. And they brought it down to 14, almost halving the thing. And then Tanya, which is the craziest one of them all. Tanya, like I said, considered the best character in the game, but after today's patch, she received slight damage scaling adjustments, which I'm going to assume she does less damage overall now. They removed the invulnerability frames on all of her teleports, which is a big one. They added 10 recovery frames after landing to the teleport after every single one, so it takes way longer to recover. They also did a 10 recovery frame addition from a teleport after a missed or blocked normal attack. So pretty much anytime you do a teleport, there's just more recovery now. And now you can no longer chain into ground attacks or 2-in-1 special cancel after landing from a teleport. So the Tanyas that were consistently able to teleport up, hit you, teleport to the other side, hit you, you essentially can't really do that anymore. And then the big one, which was Tanya and Pyromancer, where we saw Tanya kind of being played like Morrigan from Marvel vs. Capcom, running away, throwing fireballs. It was very hard to hit her. Well, they added 5 more recovery frames to the air fire blasts after a teleport. So if you're using the teleport a lot with Tanya, you have to think about it a little bit more. This is not as bad as I thought it was going to be, where Tanya was going to get heavily nerfed, like they'd add, like, you would take half of your stamina gauge to do a teleport. Nothing like that. It is a part of her game plan. They don't want to remove it, but man, she got a lot of nerfs very fast, and this all happened before EVO. The thing I want to ask you guys is that this is a new trend amongst fighting games, especially with Killer Instinct and Mortal Kombat, where there's frequent updates to the game. About every month, month and a half, you get a lot of adjustments to a wide variety of characters. And this is something that has not been prevalent in fighting games, mostly because on previous generation systems, it was expensive to update the games, and for games before that, there were arcade versions, and you really couldn't update fighting games. You kind of had to nail it on the release, and that was it, which led to a lot of really busted things in kind of old school fighting games. Not exactly a bad thing, you have to work around it. That's kind of the nature of fighting games, and we always assumed it, but now it's a lot different. It makes you think, if developers could go back and change things, would they? And most likely, I would say they would. If we had those old games like Marvel vs. Capcom 2, or even Ultimate Marvel 3, you'd probably see a lot of adjustments if the developers had the ability to do so. Sadly, they don't. We're not going to see any changes to old games, but with these newer games, you can kind of get an idea where these guys are going, what they're doing with the characters. If they can make adjustments, they're going to make adjustments. And sometimes I like it, and sometimes I don't. I'm kind of in the middle, but I do like there being a fresh take to some characters in fighting games over every month or two. It does make the game feel very interesting, and it feels like it's evolving, and we're kind of joining the game as it evolves. It makes it difficult for competitive players, of course, but at the same time, it really is up to discussion of what you guys think about constant adjustments and changes over every month or two to a fighting game. Let me know what you guys think below. My name is Maximilian, and I'll see you next time.